Welcome back.
Hi, Caprice.
Hi, Lori.
Hi, Ithar.
Hi, Ithar.
Hey, Ithar,
Welcome
did
back.
you start your new position?
I start December 7th.
All right.
Ah, so pretty
That's
soon.
exciting. Ithar, you've got to give us a full report now when you on your first day.
Oh, absolutely. I'm so excited. I already started receiving things in the mail, headsets and keyboard, and
Yeah,
I'm so excited.
that's cool. Yeah.
Hi, Lowell. Good to see you.
It's our guy from Southeast Asia.
I think we probably should go ahead. We've got a jam-packed 90 minutes. And Greg, let's open with you, and then we'll go to the introduction that I'll do.
Okay.
I'm going to be muting everyone, so just hang in there with me, okay?
Connie. Well, good evening and good morning, everyone. Welcome to conversation number 10. Unbelievable. Yes, it's true. And we are going to have about an hour of discussion on, really our theme is about white solidarity today. And then our Chinese law students will return for the last 30 minutes, and excited to have that opportunity again. And they are in week 1 of their second course that I'm teaching with them. It's called Research Methods. Last week they finished their second week, their 2-week course on Intro to Criminal Justice in the Western system, an American system. They did quite well, by the way, on the final exam. So I am very pleased with that. Research Methods is a little different. It's a little more complicated, but so far they're doing okay on the quizzes. But I just wanted to remind everybody the reason why we're having them here as part of this. We're taking advantage of what we believe is a very unique opportunity for them and for us, and it fits perfectly for the mission and purpose of our group here. And that is to have some, international, culturally rich exposure to different cultures, people different than us. And in the spirit of the quote that I used last week to bring them in, and that was from Martin Luther King, is that people fail to get along sometimes because they fear each other. And they fear each other because they don't know each other. And they don't know each other because they have not communicated with each other. And China has a wall. It's difficult for them to see us, and they're very curious. I go there and have been there for over 4 years, and they are very curious, but they're very respectful of authority. They don't talk much because it's not in their culture to do that with a professor or with people they view as having power. But they are listening and they are engaged. And we talked about you. I don't know if you turned red or felt some warmth or some love over the week, but we talked about you and their inclusion in last week's class, and brought it full circle for them relative to some issues in America, racism, polarization. When they hear things like Kung Fu virus, the China virus, I want them to know that there are Americans that don't believe or act that way. And that's an opportunity that we have here in bringing them in. So we're going to welcome them again. And this time they actually have some questions they want to ask us, which is exactly what I had hoped. And I think you'll enjoy the questions, but be ready, because there's some really, really good questions. I have more than we can share in the 30 minutes we have with them, because I don't know how many out of the 100 probably had 30 some really good questions. So we're only going to be able to do what we can. So it's not going to be that many, and to still make it rich. And the last thing I would say is that it's unfortunate we can't have them in for the full 90 minutes because they have a law class on this day. Unfortunately, we had originally planned to have them in for the full sessions, of course, because that would be even more enriching, but a little is better than nothing. So I'm happy with that. So we look forward to bringing them back in. And with that, Fred, I'll turn it over to you on the topic.
Thank you, Greg. And I also asked Greg if he would see if we could arrange for the students to come back from time to time in the winter session. And so he's working on that. Not sure that we would get the whole 100 like we had last week or tonight, probably, but because their schedules change. But I think it would really be good if we could continue our involvement in association with the Chinese students. Tonight, we're going to be talking about white solidarity And that's the key term that we're looking at. And I'd like to throw some things that were just in just a very short period of time, and then we're going to do a breakout for 15 minutes, and then come back and have a general discussion from the breakout rooms about what you learned or what you discussed in those breakout rooms, and that'll be about 15 minutes too. And so let me just start with some thoughts that you might want to take with you and discuss while you're in your small groups. And discussing racism, we have to ask ourselves as we're learning about this phrase has been with us for, in terms of Blacks in 1619 and Native Americans, even beyond that. But are we trying to play gotcha? Does that enter into this? Are we listening to what people are saying? Are we looking at the whole picture and circumstances? What is the picture that we're looking at, and what are the circumstances? We agonize over giving feedback to someone who we believe is racist. When we confront someone in our daily lives or as a member of our family, do we confront them? And when I say confront, I don't necessarily mean, hey, Uncle Bud, you're a racist, and then start shrieking at them. Don't mean that. But how do we give feedback to somebody about something that we heard, whether it's a member of our family or somebody at work or even an employer? If we really think they're racist, do we know where we're headed with our comments, our response? Also, where are they headed in their comments? Do we sort it out? Do we listen to what they're saying and then respond appropriately? Or do we just, all fours just really challenge without listening to what we've heard? Do we know the whole story? Are we or should we listen before leaping? And that's a question that I think would be interesting to discuss in the small groups. Are we or should we listen before leaping? Or as soon as somebody says something that we think, well, that's racist, do we leap or do we let them finish what they're saying? We worry that we could push a person into the person giving feedback back into their caves. Do we worry about that? So if we say something, do we want them in a conversation to join us and talk about what's on their mind? Let me tell you today, I was at my church, and our office is closed during the week because of the pandemic, and so we check phone calls, and we put every week we put Lori puts a note on the community board in Dallas, and I also put one written slightly different, so it looks like it's two different things. And this man had left a recording, and he said he had a 14-year-old son. He said he's white, and he said, I heard one thing, my wife heard something else, so we're not sure. It was either we have relatives at your church, or I talked to some people that we think are go to your church. And he said, we don't think you should be teaching about white supremacists in the church. We don't think that's appropriate for the church. And my son, he didn't think so either. And he's 14 years old. And I just want you to know you're going to lose members. And then slam, and the phone went down. And so, and I've been thinking about that, we haven't lost any members, as a matter of fact. And during this pandemic, we've actually gained members. But I thought, if he was on the phone, how would I respond in this discussion? What would I say? I think I know what I would say, but that was just a question. So and then the question that we might have is, do we worry that we could push the person in who's giving the feedback back into a cave? Could that happen? Okay, I'm going to talk to you. I think you're a racist, and we're going to have a conversation about it. Okay, you push back, and then I push back. I go into my cave, and the person that I'm I'm talking to about their racism goes into their cave. So what have we accomplished? What have we accomplished? And so that's something else that I think we should talk about. Is our goal to dialogue? Is it to dialogue, or do we just simply don't have the time or the energy or the patience to dialogue? I want to tell you what I think. I think you are a blibbering racist, and I don't really care what you have to say. Is that my attitude? Should that be my attitude? And then what is the, what about the counter to that? What are they thinking? Is that important? And so that's part of dialoguing. So in the final analysis, are we accomplishing anything if both back off and go into their caves? Starting to say cages, maybe that's right. Is there anything to be gained from that? And so these are the questions then when we're confronting or being confronted, what should our attitude be? So as we break out now into the small groups, in the small group, please discuss this introduction. And then when you return to the main room, we'll be prepared for a group discussion on what you've learned in your small group or what you've discussed in your small group. Is that clear to everyone? Okay. Go to small groups.
Bobby, did you want to? Okay.